So the three words I think about when I think about Wendy and Laurie and Children's Partnership are first, perspicacity, patience, and incredible perseverance.
I would say visionary, collaborative, innovative.
Strategic, tenacious, expert.
Lean but not mean, steely determination and commitment, and a powerful commitment to social change.
I think that Laurie and Wendy are brilliant, prescient, and passionate about kids in a way that I think very few people are.
One of my fondest memories was more than 2 decades ago. Laurie and Wendy invited me to meet them at the Rose Cafe in Venice to talk about this really goofy idea they had that they wanted to try out on some of their friends. And the idea was that they would create a think tank for kids, basically. The minute they told me what the idea was, it fit in 2 ways. One is it was perfect for them and what they were able to do, but it was filling a gap that actually I didn't know existed until they described what it was they wanted to do, which was strategic thinking, mixing research and action on behalf of what had become the stalled agenda for children, and to do it in both sides of the country.
The Children's Partnership started at a little office at 4th and Broadway in Santa Monica, and it was Wendy and Laurie and Jessica who assisted them in the office. They probably had a phone and a couple of computers, and I know they shared space with another nonprofit organization.
The model that they constructed was quite unique because it involved research, it involved community engagement, it involved policy. It was a unique combination of a lot of ways to bring ideas together so that children would be served.
And I think that they really linked together 2 areas that people really hadn't thought of at the same time, which is the health protection for children. Everything from insurance to dental care to fighting poverty and how it affects children especially, but then the whole question of access to communications.
Wendy and Laurie started essentially what turned out to be a pilot project in Los Angeles. And it was also unique because the idea was to cover all children, including undocumented children.
The conventional wisdom was this can never happen. The undocumented can never receive state resources. Why waste your time? And what I saw the Children's Partnership do is essentially say that conventional wisdom is wrong. If we employ our resources fully and we put our energy and attention to this issue, and we build a coalition and we're persistent and we have a long-term plan, we can build a policy consensus in California that essentially says children, regardless of their documentation status, regardless of their income status, have to have access to health care. And that's exactly what they did.
But the research component was very important, as well as advocacy, analysis, everything that is their forte, because it showed that you covered all these children and you still saved money.
We are pretty much there between the expansion of the CHIP program, the ACA for the higher income kids, and finally the SB4 for the undocumented kids. There's an opportunity for virtually every child in California to have coverage, and our coverage rates in California are just fabulous, and Children's Partnership deserves a huge amount of credit for the patience and persistence and leadership to get us there.
Taking that conventional wisdom, turning it on its head, not buying into it, and essentially launching a multi-year effort to change the policy environment in Sacramento on children's health coverage is really an extraordinary example of how effective they have been.
I would say that the Children's Partnership's work in these 2 areas has made children's lives better in ways that are measured, but also in ways that we can't even really know. Because without their work, for instance, early on in the age of technology, it's possible no one would have thought about how computers were affecting children's lives, help to make parents better understand what their children were doing on computers, how important computers would be in education, and how much computers would really become a part of our lives.
I mean, the new stuff that they're doing about technology and children's health, very, very important and innovative. Community engagement, always a big part. Advocacy, advocacy, advocacy. I think they taught a lot of people how to do it.
In all of this work, both in healthcare and technology, the Children's Partnerships work has definitely been valued and recognized. I know, for instance, there was recognition from the White House even, because it was acknowledged how important it was that someone was looking at these issues.
We're used to blustery people being the ones who are out there, and people think, well, that's how change happens. But actually, it's people like Wendy and Laurie are the ones that cause change. And in their mind, it wouldn't be them causing it, it would be bringing together people who will actually do it. And that's another part of their kind of style, which I think is a style very suited for this century. If there's going to be any kind of social change in our society, it's going to be collaborative, it's going to be led but not bossed.
The future of the Children's Partnership is so bright because we have this foundation and model that works so well, and we have an incredibly intelligent and talented staff to carry out the work. I don't know what the next big thing is, but I have no doubt that it will be something really amazing and really important, and that it will make a big difference in children's lives.
Well, I think the greatest predictor of your future is your past. And the fact is, this is a handoff that in typical Children's Partnership fashion is going to the very best people.
People always think, well, you know, it must be the two of them. Well, it couldn't have happened without them, there's no question. But they never made it about themselves. They always made it about the work. And that is why the future, I think, of the Children's Partnership is so secure.
It's still a think tank that's going to make a difference. So I think it's just going to get bigger and stronger. And I congratulate everybody on moving to the increasingly dynamic downtown. You're in a location that is going to make a big difference. There's all kinds of energy down here, and I think people are going to want to hear the Children's Partnership's voice more and more.
I hope they really understand the mark they've made on the children's movement, this model that they've created to look at a policy, advocate for policy change, and then ensure that the policy is implemented is so important. And Wendy and Laurie have really set the bar very high.
They've accomplished so much. I mean, the Children's Partnership has been like a beacon for the country.
You know, the light bulb is the perfect symbol for Wendy and Laurie. You know, it gives the light, and it also gives the opportunity to give fresh thinking and fresh ideas.
People talk about what it takes to get something done in the policy arena, and people talk about the influence of money, the influence of the stakeholders who have money to spend on the process. But I think equally important, in fact at times even more important, is expertise. And what the Children's Partnership specializes in is this depth of knowledge, this depth of expertise.
I think what was special and has been special about them is that they showed that you didn't need a massive, gigantic organization to move the needle on issues involving children. What you needed was to be lean and not mean, which is essentially Laurie and Wendy.